New moon in Taurus, 25-26 degrees, on the 16th of May, 2001 Greenwich Mean Time. The Wounded Soldier. This new moon brings a closing of the old ways and then an opening up of the new ways, in which the materialistic realm is run. On this day, in fact at the exact moment of the new moon, there is also a conjunction between Mars and Chiron in Aries. It is as if the challenges each one of us faces at this time are bringing us to a moment of stop. We can continue no more in this vein. We must begin to heal on a deeper level. And the moment where we decide this is now. If we do not decide this ourselves, it will be decided for us. Mars conjunct Chiron and Aries would absolutely have the image of the wounded soldier as an illustration of what this signature represents. In the moments leading up to the conjunction on May 16th, there has been a feeling of a closing up of a cycle, the length of a Mars cycle, which is nearly 2 years long. The last time Mars conjuncted Chiron was in May 2024 at 23 degrees of Aries. Then previously, June 16th, 2022, at 15 degrees Aries. And prior to that, July 14th, 2020, at 9 degrees Aries. Think back to these dates and perhaps get a sense of what was ending and beginning then in terms of opening up and ending chapters and woundings to our sense of self and bodily autonomy. Where we were stopped in our tracks by sources seemingly outside ourselves that felt like a wounding, but were in fact an opening up into new ways of conducting ourselves for better and or for worse. A lot is taking place in the world these days. There is much disempowerment taking place. Our individual sovereignty is being undermined at fundamental levels. However, this disempowerment is also bringing awareness of the structures that have been disempowering us for a very long time. The mechanism of putting slavery into the distant history books and creating a facade that it no longer exists in our civilized society has maintained this slavery under our very noses. As this becomes more clear to ever-growing numbers of people through these extreme attacks on our sovereignty, the mechanisms of its workings become more evident to more people. Those that don't recognise this may become a part of mechanisms that facilitate their own disempowerment, whilst those that do will begin to create the healing ways and the healing tools to counteract this undermining of our individual sovereignty which is taking place. At this time of Mars conjuncting Chiron and Aries, for the last time in this 51-year Chiron cycle, there is a closing up of these themes from the last 2-year cycle and the lead up to this day, in this almost exact moment of the new moon on May 16th. The minute before the new moon takes place, Mars brushes up against Chiron, concluding a Mars cycle in relationship to Chiron and commencing a new 2-year cycle on Mars and Chiron in Aries themes. So the days leading up to this new moon are challenging, as are those following it, but they have a different flavour of challenge from each other. The old cycle closes up and then an event kick-starts the new cycle. On the wider scale, I would use the example of all the new measures invading our privacy by our technology that have recently commenced, just as Mercury conjuncted Chiron a few days ago. And this has consequences for our individual sovereignty and human rights in relationship to our personal technological devices. Many will go along with this because they feel there is either no real problem or it's too hard to do anything else. This will likely commence a story of subtle undermining of their own integrity and autonomy that will need redressing at some point. And it is extremely hard to not go along with these measures that are subtly turning us into being owned by agencies outside ourselves on some level. It is indeed akin to being a soldier on a battlefield this time. We're being shot at by enemy from all directions. in a fight for our own wholeness and autonomy. But this is how we are being forced to wake up and not give away our power by the very real threat to it. Each of us must empower ourselves and take back the autonomy. As each one of us does that, it becomes easier for others to do the same. However, it is not everyone's role or capacity to be on the front line buying new tech open source devices, refraining from using Google Maps, switching to LibreWolf search engines, deleting their social media, or using cash. In fact, in evolutionary astrology, Geoffrey Wolfe Green identified that there are three main stages of evolution. About 70% of people are in a consensus state, in which going along with the many is their stage of evolution. Then about 22% of the population is in a stage of individuating from the consensus state. This requires that there is something to individuate from. It is a state that can no longer tolerate going along with the crowd. The ways of the crowd feel so wrong to these individuals that they have no choice but to break away and be more truthful to ourselves. So this model of evolutionary astrology is actually very reassuring, because it reveals that this is a setup of dissatisfaction with the consensus reality. It is in fact a cosmic setup for our individual and collective evolution. This is one of the main ways I find evolutionary astrology so very healing, because it brings awareness that we are really just in a big cosmic setup, acting as the hero in our own personal journey of evolution. The universe must always provide something from which we must break away from in order for us to evolve. This will likely be about 22% of the population who are at the breaking away from the consensus stage and making different choices. Hone your discernment at this time. There are solutions that do not send all our personal data to scammers and big tech. And do not worry that the majority are naively walking into a trap. This is their stage of evolution at this time. It provides us with reality which those of us who are individuating can break away from and evolve. Even if you cannot change your tech choices, no fear. It is just a journey that commences now to awaken us to the nature of things. Many congratulations to all of you, for we are all brave warriors, wounded in this battlefield of life in the 3D realms. The fight for our sovereignty will forever be taking place here on some level. And there are times when this is not a bad thing, but in fact a very good thing. Ego dissolution is, in fact, the way of our ultimate hero's journey and victory. The biggest healer will have Chiron conjunct Mars in Aries, potentially. He sacrificed himself for the best cause, clear channel for divine goodness and pure connection to source energy. We just need to hone our discernment in these times of North Node in Pisces and South Node in Virgo as to what we are sacrificing ourselves to. Are big tech companies and mass surveillance a discerning choice to which we should sacrifice ourselves to? If we can't trust those in front of the camera, why are we blindly trusting those behind it? With the Sun entering Gemini in just a couple of days after this new moon, the world may start to feel like a bit of a motorway, and the battlefield will feel like it's in our own minds. It's busy, 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 chatty, chatty, chatty time. Information, people, and tech overload. Can we meditate and stay in emanation of the Om frequencies while sitting adjacent to a busy and chaotic motorway? The ability to emanate and embody Om, even not in a peaceful place with all your needs. Even in a peaceful place with all your needs met is challenging even for those who devote themselves to this undertaking. It takes much practice and millions of failed attempts to even find a moment of internal peace and harmony. But in truth, happiness is actually a decision. And we have to keep making that decision. No problem when we fail. Indulge a little in negativity. Then refine the positive. Refine the power to make life good, no matter what the external circumstances. Cultivate this ability. Develop a love-filled relationship with all of life. This will open up a higher consciousness in us, and the more it becomes our normal, the more we no longer have to try to cultivate it. We proceed blissfully, joyfully laughing at our predicament, spreading higher vibrations with our mere presence. Too long we have believed here on earth that being cynical and depressed is more truthful than being happy and high vibe. This is in fact not the truth. Believing in nothing, being in doubt and cynicism is just a mistaken belief system. Another one. Energetically, this cynicism and doubt appears as if a cloud around someone's head that obscures the truth of correct perception even further. Better to blow away the clouds of doubt and cynicism and confusion and see the wonder of what actually is, the sparkling vitality of life. This is divine consciousness, forever in love with all that is. The outer circumstances are not as important as we have grown accustomed to making them. If you spend time in India, you may become familiar with a character called Krishna. Perhaps Krishna is the highest vibration of Aquarius or Uranus. Uranus has very recently moved into Gemini, and within a couple of days of this new moon, the Sun will immediately meet this new era within the collective of Uranus and Gemini. If we do this energy well, which is inevitable for portions of society, and place itself there, we can take this vision of pure awareness, of seeing things as they truly are, beholding the awesomeness of creation and the blessedness of our unique place within it. Krishna represents pure awareness, the third eye chakra, seeing objectively with detachment and love simultaneously. He did not have easy circumstances. His uncle was set on killing him before he was even born, and continued to do so throughout his life. Does the uncle represent our ego in this world? Ego does not want to die. Selfishness and negativity are our egotistical aspects in their lower vibrations. When we are in love with all that is, self-sacrifice has no problem giving up anything for itself, for the harmony of the greater good. And to someone with this perception, it makes perfect sense. This is when we live in alignment with divine consciousness. It is an energy. It is a perception that we don't really die. The body may do, but the soul does not. So if we lose this body, no matter. If it is for the highest good of all, but we do need this clear perception to know what is the highest good for all. Is it not true that when we create positive energies in our thoughts and actions, there are remnants of these energies left behind us? Is it not true when we create negative energies through our thoughts and actions, there are remnants of these negative energies left behind us? We must recognize our power to create negative or positive energies wherever we go. There is, in fact, no way out of this. Whatever we do or think, we leave an energetic imprint. So at this new moon and new cycle between Mars and Chiron in Aries, our I am consciousness, healer or wound maker, with the Sun, Moon and Mercury in conjunction with this new Uranus and Gemini that rules our minds. Let us recognize this power to make positive energy wherever we go, to change our reality with our thoughts and actions, and clean up our acts, take responsibility for ourselves, change the world one smile or kind deed at a time. For this will come back to us. However, hone our discernment too, because we are not living in paradise. We are living in a polarized world where the spectrum is broad. This is what makes our potential depth of appreciation what it is. It is important to say, however, that this is indeed a challenging time. So well done to us for doing it. Even Jupiter in Cancer, which most astrologers I see say is happy in Cancer, and that's where we look for growth, expansion and good times, from my point of view has been severely challenged in Cancer for the entirety of his time there. Squaring his Chiron and conjuncting Pluto has been nothing easy or cosy about Jupiter's stay in home-loving Cancer. Our safe spaces and identities have been severely under stress, like our home is in a war zone, which for many it literally has been. For everyone, we have been challenged to grow into more maturity on the emotional front, as we have had our very bodies and survival challenged by just having nowhere reliable to go and be safe. It feels like Jupiter in Cancer has been there for eternity too. Can it only be a year? He moves into Leo, and although this brings an opposition to Pluto, let's hope it'll somehow feel less excruciating in this eternal square to Chiron. At least we'll move out feeling so much and move into doing and playing a bit more, even if we don't have much money to do it with, because of Chiron in Taurus and Pluto in Aquarius pooping all over the party. At least we can stop having to face and deal with our inner child wounds when there is no real earthly safe space to go, with Jupiter just making all the issues even larger. The Jupiter-Chiron square is exact on the 30th of June at 0 degrees of Taurus. And Leo, as we start to plan our holidays that we can't really afford. Camping, everyone? Working holiday? From this moment on, the energy will change at least. No more emotional overload. No more physical attacks on our sovereignty. At least not in such an extreme and challenging way that it has been. And a change is as good as a rest, so they say. There will be a holiday, but we will have to watch the pennies. In every cloud there is a silver lining, and perhaps we should take the final 6 weeks of Jupiter in Cancer to recognise how we have matured on the emotional front. Maybe Jupiter in Cancer has been about growth after all. I would like to congratulate everyone at this point. We are each and every one of us brave soldiers on this battlefield of life on Earth, especially at this time. It has not been at all easy. But know that this is in fact the last battle of Chiron in Aries, having to fight for his sovereignty in self-empowerment in this cycle of 51 years. For Chiron soon moves into Taurus, where we will take a closer look at where our personal values are causing us issues. But that is for another day. Take care, brave soldiers.